Don't do that. Don't call it a roner and don't call it a sous vide machine.
Es un motor fuera de borda.
This is a sous vide machine, right? Sous vide means you're using a vacuum. Okay.
Perdón, me dicen que en español se llama un roner, porque lo ha inventado en español Joan Roner.
Roner is like Kleenex. It's a company. Sí.
Oh, Juan Roca.
Yeah, Juan Roca, who is right. Like all props to Juan Roca, and it's true. But that's a company. This is called an immersion circulator. It gets confusing. The terminology gets very confusing, right? The reason to keep it straight is so that you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. I've had cooks who say the word sous vide when they're working on this kind of thing, and they get completely confused what they're trying to do. The vacuum does one thing and the temperature control does another.
Está explicando que es muy difícil cuando se usan los nombres de empresas o nombres inadecuados, o que cuando cambia tanto, porque usando sous vide para el vacío y sous vide para el roca, digamos, os complica mucho tener tantas palabras. Está explicando eso, bueno, más o menos. Yo me estoy perdiendo a todos.
I could put something in a vacuum bag and not cook it all, or throw it in boiling water and it's still sous vide.
Él puede sellar algo al vacío y congelarlo o ponerlo en agua caliente y todavía sería sous vide.
I can put something in this immersion circulator without a vacuum bag, either in Ziploc or in oil or something like an egg, and I can cook it low temperature, which means that I'm very accurately controlling the temperature without the sous vide.
Él puede colocar algo aquí en una bolsa de plástico o sin nada, cocinarlo a baja temperatura y no sería sous vide.
The techniques are separate, but they go together quite often.
Son técnicas separadas, pero generalmente van juntas.
And if you work in New York City like I do, this is allowed without any problems.
Si trabaja en Nueva York, donde él trabaja, esto se permite sin ningún problema.
If you have one of these without special permission from the health department, they throw away all of your food and lock you up. Not lock you up, lock the machine up.
Si tienes uno de estos sin los permisos adecuados, botan toda tu comida y te lo quitan.
Right? So you should try to keep them separate. This is low temperature cooking. Some people say exact temperature cooking. This is sous vide.
Esto es cocina a baja temperatura o cocina a temperatura exacta, y eso es sous vide.
Yeah. Another interesting thing, so a lot of you have been exposed then to the kind of European idea, call it a roner, right? Some of you? Who has not heard of Juan Roca?
¿Quién no conoce a Juan Roca?
Okay, Juan Roca is an extremely famous chef who has 3 Michelin stars, and he wrote the very first chef's book on cooking low temperature and sous vide. And he's great, widely admired. I met him a couple of times. He's an extremely nice guy, very good cook.
Chef Juan Roca es un chef español que escribió el primer libro sobre cocinar a baja temperatura. Creo que es Can Faves, 3 estrellas Michelin, ¿no? No. Es Can Roca. Es Can Roca, 3 estrellas Michelin. El salado, sí.
Anyway, but the point is that they make that because of that, what became popular in Europe was one of these immersion circulators that's contained in a bath. And this is what's called a roner. I highly encourage you, as you go forward in your life and purchase these, as I'm sure many of you will, to not purchase one that comes contained in a bath, because it's only going to slow you down. Get one like this that can be taken around and moved and put in any size bath that you want.
El chef recomienda, si van a comprar uno, mejor comprar uno como este, que es portátil y se puede cambiar y usar diferente.
And the reason this thing is so important is it gives you very, very, very accurate temperature control and allows you to achieve textures and a consistent result again and again that you could never do beforehand. So even though you can cook traditionally, it's great, this just allows you to do things you couldn't otherwise do.
Lo importante de este aparato es que te permite cocinar a unas temperaturas exactas y te permite hacer muchísimas cosas que de una manera tradicional no podrías hacer.
Okay, so while this is cooking, I'm going to show you a second technique. It's not really cooking, it's setting, and then we'll cook it later. I'm going to show you a separate technique. How many of you have heard of or have a whipped cream maker, a siphon?